or with Vince. Now it goes without saying that Triple H had great relationships with several talents who have been released over the past few years, and most of these talents were key parts of Triple H's acclaimed black and gold NXT brand. Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE superstars who could now return under the Triple H regime. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists, and also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Number 10. Andrade. When Andrade was in NXT, Triple H did everything in his power to make sure Andrade became a top superstar. Triple H would pair him with Zelina Vega and the duo would reach the top of the NXT ladder. Andrade would become NXT champion and would go on a run of outstanding matches, including an all-time classic against Johnny Gargano. However, when Andrade was called up to the main roster, it was clear that he had lost his motivation, and it was obvious that Vince McMahon didn't value him as a star. Eventually, Andrade had enough, and in March of 2021, he asked for and was granted his release from WWE. Since his departure, Andrade has found himself in AEW, and this AEW run isn't exactly lighting the world on fire. With Andrade's wife Charlotte Flair being a WWE mainstay and Triple H now running creative, Andrade may wish to consider the option of rejoining WWE once his AEW contract expires. Number 9. Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox had a ton of potential in NXT. Triple H always saw the sheer potential in Knox. Sadly, when Knox was moved over to the main roster, she would last just a few months before she was released from the company. Knox was never really given a fair opportunity to succeed, and since her departure, she's claimed that WWE were going back to the Divas era. With Vince McMahon no longer having a say in the women's division, Knox would be a welcomed addition to the women's roster. Number 8. Tyler Breeze. During his time in NXT, Tyler Breeze was someone that Triple H valued as a top star. Breeze was incredibly gifted in the ring, but he was also a mentor for other newer talent on the show. When Breeze got called up to the main roster, he was unable to reach the level of success he achieved in NXT, and he was quickly moved down the card. Breeze did achieve some success with his tag team partner Fandango, but we know just how little Vince McMahon valued tag team wrestling. Triple H may look to bring Breeze back into the mix either as an in-ring talent or as a trainer, and both roles would be perfect for the former NXT Tag Team Champion. Number 7. The Iconics. One of the most shocking releases of 2021 was the release of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, known as the Iconics. The duo were popular with fans and they certainly didn't deserve their premature release. But since their release, the duo have had a tag team run in Impact Wrestling, but it may be time for the game to bring them back home. If Triple H plans on focusing on the women's tag division, he's going to need established and reliable tag teams, and the Iconics certainly fit the billing. There are some reservations from the duo to return, as there were actually contacts to return at the 2022 Rumble, but they outright refused. However, Triple H can repair the relationship between both sides, and WWE once again becomes iconic. Number 6. Keith Lee. Triple H knew that Keith Lee was a megastar, and this was evident when he allowed Keith Lee to become NXT Champion and NXT North American Champion simultaneously. The game booked around Lee's strength, and he had built up a genuine connection with the NXT faithful. All this hard work though would go out the window when Lee was called up to the main roster. Whilst his presentation was strong at first, a combination of health issues and creative differences led to Lee's main roster run falling flat. Vince McMahon quickly fell out of favour with Lee, and according to Lee, McMahon told him quote-unquote he sounded too smart for his own good. Since his disappointing release, Lee has found himself in AEW where he's joined forces with another release star, that being Swerve Strickland. It'll be interesting to see Lee return to WWE with Triple H at the helm, as Lee clearly liked working with Triple H, and this could heavily influence his return. Matches such as Lee vs Roman Reigns and Lee vs Brock Lesnar are still dream matches for several fans, and it'd be a huge shame not to see these matches take place before Lee hangs up his boots for good. Number 5. Kyrie Sane. Now, even though Kyrie Sane was in WWE for a few short years, she achieved great success in that time. She would win the inaugural Mae Young Classic, as well as win the NXT Women's title and WWE Women's Tag Team titles with Asuka. Sane's work, especially alongside Asuka, was extremely well received by fans, and they were left disappointed when it was revealed that Sane would be leaving WWE to go back to Japan. Now, the good news in relation to a possible return for Sane is that her relationship with WWE is on good terms. Before her official release, Sane would work as an ambassador role for WWE, so it was clear that they wanted to keep her around. Sane was also rumoured for a 2022 Royal Rumble appearance, but sadly this never materialised. Triple H may wish to open the doors of communication with Sane and convince her to return, even if it's just a deal which would see the talented star make sporadic appearances. Number 4. Karrion Kross. NXT truly delivered with their presentation of Karrion Kross. Kross looked like an absolute megastar before the bell even rang, and fans were curious to see how Vince McMahon would handle Kross's run on the main roster. While from the moment he debuted on the main roster, it was apparent that McMahon didn't get what Kross was offering. His presentation would be drastically altered, and he would even lose his first match on the main roster to Jeff Hardy. Kross would begin to wear a bizarre looking helmet, and the partnership with Scarlett would be dissolved completely. Eventually, Kross would be released without actually getting a fair chance to get over on the main roster. Now, Kross is still open to a return, and he's prone to teasing a return to the company on his social media platforms. This might be something that Triple H may consider, as Kross without a doubt has unfinished business in WWE. Number 3. Adam Cole. In a number of interviews since his departure, Adam Cole has shared how much love and admiration he has for Triple H. Cole and H had a tremendous working relationship, and this was shown by his impressive run in NXT. When contract negotiations came up for Cole, most of the main roster pitches for him were insulting. One of the pitches involved Cole becoming a manager for Keith Lee, which would have been a huge waste of his talent. Now, instead of agreeing to a new deal, Cole opted to sign for AEW, where he's been featured as a member of the Undisputed Elite. Cole is signed with AEW until 2027, but that doesn't mean that as soon as his contract is done, he can't re-sign with WWE and be back working alongside the game himself. Number 2. Johnny Gargano. Speaking of talent who had a fantastic relationship with H, Johnny Gargano was truly one of Triple H's main guys. He was reliable and could pull off any character, whether it was a heel or as a beloved babyface. Gargano decided to part ways with WWE mainly due to his wife Candice LeRae giving birth, and also he wanted to take time away from the squared circle. He stated that he's open to a return when he's ready, and a Triple H-led main roster may be the perfect fit for the former NXT champion. It'll be also great to see LeRae back in WWE. She's widely regarded as one of the best female talents in the world, and she would be welcomed with open arms into the main roster's women's division. And number 1. Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt was released from WWE in 2021, it took everyone by surprise. He was WWE's top star, and he was a huge merch seller. Initially, reports claimed that Wyatt was one of the highest paid stars in the company, and WWE wanted to make major budget cuts. Another reason for his release that surfaced months later was that WWE struggled how to book him. A source claimed that everyone on the roster who worked with Wyatt was destroyed and needed to be rebuilt. Despite these reports, a return for Wyatt is entirely possible. If they wish to bring him back, he could review the terms of his contract, and if they have an issue with how he presents his character, they could perform the necessary tweaks to make his character work. It would make logical business sense to bring Wyatt back into the company, and fans would be keen to see the former champion back where he belongs. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE superstars who can now return under the new WWE regime. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.